solta a putaria, porra.
Báilalo, gózalo, como lo canto y lo siento yo. Como báilalo, gózalo, como lo canto y lo siento yo. Como báilalo, gózalo, como lo canto y lo siento yo. Como báilalo, gózalo, como lo canto y lo siento yo. Como
Silence is one of the most powerful psychological weapons a human can use, not because it is loud, aggressive, or violent, but because it forces the other person to face their own thoughts. In psychology, silence creates tension, uncertainty, and emotional pressure, and the human brain naturally tries to escape that discomfort. When used intentionally, silence can influence conversations, relationships, and even power dynamics without saying a single word. Human beings are social by nature. We are wired to communicate, react, and respond. When communication suddenly stops, the brain begins to search for meaning. It asks questions like, did I do something wrong? Are they angry? Are they disappointed? Do they not care anymore? This uncertainty activates anxiety, and anxiety makes people more likely to talk, explain, apologize, or reveal information just to break the silence. One of the reasons silence is so strong is because the human mind hates the unknown. When someone stays quiet, the other person starts filling the gap with their own assumptions, and most of the time, those assumptions are negative. This is called the psychological principle of projection. When there is no clear message, the brain creates one, and it usually reflects the person's own fears and insecurities. Silence also shifts control in a conversation. The person who speaks less often appears more confident and more powerful. In negotiations, interviews, or arguments, the one who can stay calm and silent has the advantage. The other person feels pressure to keep talking, and the more they talk, the more they reveal. This is why skilled negotiators often use silence after making a statement. They wait. They let the tension grow, and eventually the other side starts explaining, adjusting, or even giving up more than they planned. In relationships, silence can have an even stronger effect. When someone reacts with shouting or anger, the conflict stays loud and obvious. But when someone responds with silence, the emotional impact can feel deeper. Silence can signal disappointment, distance, or loss of interest, and those signals can hurt more than words. However, this also means silence must be used carefully. There is a difference between calm, controlled silence and silent treatment meant to punish someone. Healthy silence creates space for reflection. Unhealthy silence creates emotional damage. Another reason silence is powerful is because it creates authority. Think about leaders, teachers, or people with strong presence. They do not rush to speak. They pause. They choose their words slowly. That pause makes people listen more closely. When someone is always talking, their words lose weight, but when someone speaks rarely, every word feels important. Silence makes speech valuable. Silence also works on a neurological level. When there is a pause in conversation, the brain becomes more alert. It tries to predict what will happen next. This increases focus and emotional intensity. That is why silence in movies, speeches, and storytelling feels so dramatic. The pause makes the moment feel bigger than it actually is. In psychology, silence is often used in therapy as well. Therapists sometimes stay quiet on purpose, allowing the person to continue talking. Most people feel uncomfortable with long pauses, so they start to open up more. They reveal thoughts they were not planning to say. The silence creates space, and in that space, the truth often appears. But the strongest part of silence is self-control. Staying silent when you're angry, offended, or emotional is not easy. It requires discipline, and discipline is a form of power. When you do not react immediately, you show that your emotions do not control you. Instead, you control your emotions. This makes others see you as more stable, more confident, and more difficult to manipulate. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not fear. Silence is a tool. Used correctly, it can calm a situation, create respect, increase authority, and reveal the truth. Used incorrectly, it can create distance and misunderstanding. The real strength of silence comes from intention. When you choose silence on purpose, it becomes a weapon. Not a weapon that destroys, but a weapon that influences, controls, and reveals what words often hide.